Hello, it's Rebecca here from Precious Pages Papercraft, and today I'm designing a layout for Hip Kit Club, and I'm using the fabulous July 2022 kits, which are exclusive to Hip Kit Club, so you won't find these products anywhere else. It's the Wild and Free collection designed by Kim and Kimberly, and it's very cowgirl themed. So I'm going to scrap a photo today of my little boy dressed as a cowboy in his little Toy Story Woody outfit. And it's Technique Focus Day, so I'm going to try and draw on the colours in my photo and focus on those and try and match what I use on my layout to the colours in my photo. So you'll probably see a little bit more as I go along what I mean by that. But I've got lots of kind of brown warm tones in this photo. I've actually picked out two at the moment, and I wasn't entirely sure which one I was going to scrap. He's in the same outfit for both photos, so there's lots of kind of browns and oranges. And the photo I actually end up using is the one of him stood in front of our fence, this one here, which is kind of like a cross between a grey and a navy blue. And there's quite a bit in this kit that is that colour, especially there's a title that says Howdy that I had my eye on, so I chose to go with this photo. And obviously part of his costume is that cow print waistcoat, so it's black and white, and there's a lot in the kit with that pattern on as well. So it was really easy for me with this photo to use those colours and patterns and repeat them in the papers and the embellishments that I choose to use. So as you saw, I started off with a sheet of one of the exclusive patterned papers, and it kind of had like a landscape on it. So it had some almost like hills at the bottom in different shades, and then it had this like starburst design around a sun at the top. And I decided to cut that paper apart, and initially my idea was to use the bottom section, so those kind of overlapping landscapes. And I was going to sit those at the bottom of my page, maybe overlapping slightly differently to make it a bit more interesting and to kind of use that paper. And have my photo sat on them. But once I'd cut those sunbursts from the top, I really liked the way those look and the colours, and I'm a bit of a sucker for starburst designs, so I decided to use the top half of the paper instead. So I've cut each of those sections, and the darker one you see in the middle there is actually cut from one of the bottom sort of landscape sections of the paper, just to bring in a slightly darker tone to match the hat my little boy is wearing. So yeah, I've cut those out. I've got loads of little shards there now, and I'm distressing the edges, and I'm really going to town on the distressing. You can see all the little bits falling on my desk there. Looks like it's snowing on the desk. But I really wanted to add loads and loads of texture to this layout. So I'm really going to town on the distressing, and I'm using an edge distressing tool. Now these are really cheap. If you have access to Amazon or anywhere, probably a little craft shop, you'll be able to get your hands on one of those. If you can't, or you don't want to buy anything new, then you can just use the blade of your scissors, either open or closed, and just scrape that down the edge of your papers, and it gives it a lovely distressed look and introduces loads of texture, and it just really like lifts the page and makes it a lot more interesting. So I've done that to all of the shards there, and I'm going to have my photo kind of sat in the middle of them like so. I'm going to tack them in place just with a tiny bit of double-sided tape. I'm actually going to use my sewing machine to stitch through the centre of each one. Again, just bringing in loads of different texture, and it enables me then to kind of fold the edges up and just really introduce loads of dimension. And you can see here the title I've picked out. It's that lovely kind of navy blue crossed with grey colour, and it matches the fence in the background of my photo really nicely. So again there I'm drawing on the colours in my photo, and I'm going to have that on the lighter shard over on the left. That's like a light pink colour, dusky pink, so that really stands out as really bold against those lovely pale colours. I'm going to have it overlapping my photo slightly, and then I'm going to extend my title a bit further using some of the alphabet stickers that we get in the main kit. So there we go, I've just skipped through that process for you, and as you can see I've done a straight running stitch down the centre of each shard to hold it in place, and then I've gone over with a zigzag stitch as well, just that brings in loads of texture and like different look on the page. And obviously cowboys always have a lasso, don't they, made of rope, and the kind of stitching reminded me of that a little bit. Sorry, just drawing some shapes for my little boy. He's practicing his cutting skills at the moment, so he's sat at his desk behind me cutting out some shapes, bless him. Yeah, anyway, so I've raised my photo up with some foam. Always like to do that to bring in some dimension. It helps the photo to sit above the page as well, so it kind of still draws your eye to it and it doesn't get lost against anything like in a busy background or loads of papers and embellishments. It really stands out. And I'm adding a couple of journaling cards from the Pocket Life kit behind that. I've picked, I think, like a mustardy yellow coloured one and a navy coloured one, just to, again, use the colours that are in my photo. And it just adds a little bit more interest behind the photo. Now I'm using those thickers from the main kit. I love these. They're kind of like a real Western style font. And I'm using them to make the word partner. So my title will become Howdy Partner. Again, focusing on sitting those on the pink shard there so that there's a nice contrast and they show up nicely. And you'll notice I've moved that Howdy title on and off the page a few times. It's actually sticky on the back, but you might have seen at the beginning, I've just run my finger through with some talcum powder on the back, or baby powder, and that takes the sticky away. So it enables me to be able to move that on and off the page and trial it in different places and see where I'm happy with it best without it having to stick to everything. And I'm just adding some foam behind that. It's the Big Mama tape from Spiegel Mum Scraps, and that will help raise that up. You notice I haven't done any on the Y. The Y is going to sit on my photo, which already has foam behind it. So by adding foam around the rest of it, that now sits flat on my page. And now I'm going to have a little bit of fun embellishing. So this pack here is the fabric die cuts that we get in the main kit, and you get loads of diamonds and triangle shaped fabric pieces with gorgeous patterns on. And you also get some little wooden sticks in there and also some string, so you can make some flags or some garlands. I'm going to make kind of like a garland, I suppose, using one of the sticks. So I'm going to add 4 of the patterns, again trying to draw on colours and patterns from my photo, and I'm just going to have that stuck across the top of my shards there. Nothing difficult about that at all, really easy to make, and I love the contrast of those patterns against the shards in the background. And I'm just going to literally stick it down with some foam behind it so that I've got some good contact and they're raised up a bit. And I just love the way that kind of hangs like a garland you'd get in maybe a barn if you'd gone to like a hoedown or something. You'd see like garlands around, and that reminded me of that. So I've got that stuck down at the top there. And I've pulled out some die cuts from one of the die cut packs. Again, I'm using that cow print because it features in my photo. So I've got it on one of those fabric die cuts. I've added a hat to the top of my title there that's got it in, and also a tag over on the right of my photo. So I'm kind of repeating the same colours and patterns and just spreading them around the page. And I'm getting these die cuts stuck in place. Some I'm going to raise up with foam, others I'm going to have down flat. And you can see I tore that tag in half just so I could slot it in behind my photo. I've got a little like sheriff's badge at the top of my photo there. And that says, I run this rodeo, which I thought was quite funny. And I've added cowboy style underneath that as well, using one of the chipboard stickers. And then at the bottom of my photo here, I've got a couple of horseshoes, and over the top of that, I've added one of the puffy stickers that says just horsing around, which I thought was quite funny. The hobby horse he's actually got there is from the school I work at. So for sports day, they had one of the races. The children had to run in teams on hobby horses, and its head had fallen off during practice. So I brought it home to use my glue gun to stick it back together. And my little boy decided he wanted to put his Woody costume on and have some photos taken with the horse in the garden, which worked perfectly for this collection. So I was like, yeah, knock yourself out, kiddo. And it gives me some lovely photos to scrap with this collection. But again, I thought just the horse worked really well. So anything horsey would work really well with this photo. So I've got those horseshoes, I've got the just horsing around. I've got some of those lovely fabric die cut stars as well, again with that cow print on, but it just works so well with this collection and my photo. And I've added a scattering of those, and I love the way that the pops of black and white really stand out against all the other colours in the page. I've also added a pair of cowboy boots over onto the left there, and a couple of little chevrons again with that cow print. And now I'm going through these lovely chipboard stickers, just seeing what I can add on. I had a couple on to the left under my title there. So one that says just a cowboy at heart, and another that says Howdy. And coming in with some gold thread here through my tag. I don't like to leave tags sort of naked with nothing through them. I like to thread something through. So I've done that. I initially tried to do my machine stitching in gold thread, but it didn't work. My metallic thread and my sewing machine just don't get on. It almost shreds the metallic gold part off of the thread and just leaves me with a torn and shredded white thread. Someone did mention to me before that you can get special sewing machine needles for metallic thread, so I do need to look into that, but I just didn't have the patience for hand stitching today. So I changed to white stitch and then just added the little pop of gold there using that thread, and also one of the Magicals powders that we get in the colour kit this month. You get 3, and this is a lovely kind of yellowish gold colour. It's got a little hint of sparkle in it as well, so that worked really nicely, just to finish off the layout with some splatters. And that is me finished. So thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this layout and the process, and it gives you some inspiration. I will pop some links in the description box below for you to the Hip Kit store, to our subscription page, and also to our Facebook group. And don't forget, if you are a Hip Kit subscriber, there's loads of benefits, including free cut files, discounts on other kits if you subscribe to the main kit, and also free shipping on any additional kits. So well worth being a member, but I'll pop all the details in the description box for you. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you next time.